What I love is when we have our diasporans come back, and I love it even more when it's somebody that inspires me, is doing the job, and he said he was going to come and he's actually here. 2 years ago, he said in Houston that he would come to Ghana, and today it's an honor and a privilege to have Mayor Turner, who is the mayor of Houston, right here on the motherland in Ghana. Mayor, I just want to say thank you so much for your visit. I know that it's been 3 African countries, and I want to know from you, what made you pick these 3 particular countries?
Well, you know, number one, let me just say the hospitality in Ghana has been off the charts. And it does feel good to be home.
Yep.
And you asked me why?
Yes.
Because it is home.
Absolutely.
And we've been away way too long. The president of Ghana was in Houston a year and a half, 2 years ago. We had a great meeting, and I told him that I would lead a delegation to Ghana. And then I told my team, time is the enemy of all of us. And if we keep waiting and waiting, it will never happen, or it'll happen way down the road. So we decided that the time was now. I didn't want to come by myself. We brought a 30-person delegation. We started off in Nigeria, spent several days there, and then we went to Cote d'Ivoire, spent several days there, and now we're in Ghana. And let me tell you, it feels good to be here.
Why was it important for you to bring a 30-member delegation on your trip? What impact are you looking to make with bringing all of those people to the country?
Well, you know, I'm the mayor of the city of Houston. It's the 4th largest city in the United States. And all of the conversations that I had with either the president or the minister of foreign affairs, we talked about how can we build meaningful and impactful relationships. And it's always good to be able to sit down and break bread and go to dinner, but we represent a lot more people than just ourselves. So the question is, how can we strengthen our trade relationships? How can we strengthen our business relationships? How can we create mutually rewarding partnerships that benefit the people that we serve, and especially this younger generation? How do we create business opportunities that create jobs? How do we work together to provide jobs and business opportunities, but the necessary training so that this younger generation will be prepared when the opportunities come? And what that meant is that I needed to bring a very diverse group. So we brought people, for example, that represent the medical center, the largest medical center in the world. We brought people who represent the Houston-Harris County Port Authority, the #1 port in the United States. We brought people who represent even our sporting authority, the executive director. There are people who represent our technology innovation sector. I brought my chief economic development officer for the entire city of Houston. We brought other businessmen and women. And we brought people who could start the conversation, even start putting together some practical plans on how we could create some success stories. And I wanted to bring people who were influencers in their own spectrum so that they would come and see. And then they would go back and tell what they saw and then invite others to come. And so in order for us to be successful in achieving those purposes, I wanted to bring a group of people who were prepared to make some things happen, because when all the talk is done, what people want to see are some success stories.
Absolutely.
Give a big warm round of applause to our friends from Houston, Texas. Akwaba is what we say here in Ghana. We're grateful and glad to have your company this evening, and we're looking forward to even more of such gatherings. Our host has devoted a lot of time to the development of women and children, especially in the social space. In our history in this country, we have seen many businessmen come and go, but this man has represented consistency, he's represented boldness, and he's represented action. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to bring to the microphone our very able host, Dr. Daniel Macaulay.
You are welcome here. This is your home. I don't want to see you as visitors, but you are home. And I'm happy to host you, and I'm coming. I'm coming to my second home. I intend throwing some investment into Houston. I've had some discussion with the mayor, and he's giving me the keys to the state.
The one and only Sylvester Turner, who is the executive mayor of Houston, Texas.
Dr. Macaulay, thank you so very, very much. It's not just about what was here that we can take back to Houston. It's about what can we bring and sit down at the table and create win-wins for everybody. This is not about trying to create winners and losers. It's not about coming to take and then put in your bag and go away. But it's about, number one, building relationships. Because when you build the relationships, the business will follow. And then it's about recognizing how can we take the best of both, put it together at the table, blend it, and make it work for both. And then for so many, it's about coming to Ghana and coming to the African continent and coming home. All of those things are happening at the same time.
So this is a fabric which is made from northern Ghana. You all do know that the kente cloth, in terms of our history and in terms of our folklore, is very major and is heavily prized and heavily regarded as well. So this one is handmade, hand-woven from the best threads you can find. There we go. There we go. And of course, when you go to northern Ghana and you wear a hat which points upwards like that, then you sure are the man. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the founder of GUBA. GUBA is a diaspora network which has created a big platform for many Ghanaians in the diaspora to be able to come back home, invest here, and to, start off whatever it is that they picked up from whichever part of the world they're in. And over the years, this wonderful lady, has been responsible for bringing people of diverse expertise together and has been moving in different spaces and different places. We do acknowledge her. Thank you so much, Dentaa Moating. Please put your hands together for her.
Was it hard for you to convince the 30 people? Because I know in the US, the image of Africa is not always great. And there's a lot of people who still want to be connected to Africa, but don't know how. Or the stories that they're hearing, they think, I don't even want to go there. Or because of slavery, they're like, they sold us. We don't want to go back. What is the actual story that you think is still happening, or is the narrative actually changing? So it was an easy sell for the 30 people to join you on this tour.
It was all of that and more. But what I would also add to all of the things that you said was that what I said to people is that there are many people in Africa who feel as though the United States has not been respectful and has been away and therefore has either ignored the continent or either has been a part of people who have come, took, and left. So it's all of that. And what I've said to people in the business community, in the energy sector, and others, was that now is the time, quite frankly, past time, to work to build constructive relationships. When you look at Africa, when you look at this continent, it represents the new frontier. It represents the future. And as been said, 40% of your mineral resources are right here on this continent. From the United States and America's perspective, do you wait until you find yourself truly in need and then go when others have come and have been knocking on the door or assisting, and then all of a sudden people look up and here we come? So it is better to recognize that we need each other. And who better, from my perspective, who better to have that conversation and provide that leadership than mayors of cities in the United States, and particularly African-American mayors, because we are part of that diaspora. And if nobody else should see the reason to lead strong, productive delegations to Africa, we should.
Memorial Park. to W.E.B. Du Bois Center in Accra. The Center for Pan-African Culture was dedicated on the 22nd of June 1985, where W.B. Du Bois spent his last years. Next up, we went to meet Ambassador Dr. Bennett at the DAF Center, which is the Diaspora African Forum. We presented the Mayor of Houston with the name plaque. We did this as Guba to appreciate the work that he continues to do in Houston and to bridge the gap between the diaspora and Africa and Africans.
We went to W.B. Du Bois, we went to Kwame Nkrumah. How has that been for you?
It's been inspiring. Even when you think you're in tune and you're in that right space, when you are attending this memorial or you're attending the W.E.B. Du Bois home, or when you're visiting with Ambassador Bennett from the Diaspora African Forum and listening to them, or seeing what motivated, for example, the first president, and then to be reminded of what he said, forward forever, backwards never. It speaks to you. And it says, even if you think you've been doing some good stuff, you're still not doing enough.
We woke up early in the morning to set off to Asin Manso and Cape Coast Castle, which is about 2 to 3 hours away from the capital city of Accra.
Agu. Amen. We all welcome to the Asin Manso ancestral slave river, the last place our ancestors who were held in captivity in their chains and shackles took their last ever bath before they were sold to various buyers to be taken to the dungeons and shipped out of this place. But before we continue with the tour, in the memories of the ancestors that we've lost, I will ask that we take just 1 minute of our time to have a silent moment for the ancestors. And after the 1 minute silence, I will say, may their souls rest in perfect peace. And we shall all respond by saying, Ashe. May the spirit of our lost ancestors rest in perfect peace. Ashe. Ashe. We've managed to walk to the ancestral river, assuming we had to walk for 400 miles. This short distance will tell you that it wasn't easy. Are we ever getting there soon? How long do we have to keep walking? Several thoughts. So when they made it here, they knew very well that probably it would be the end for so many of them. For us to find ourselves here, I don't like taking people down this way anymore. When they sold our ancestors, the ones who were left in the chains, to them, they were called useless commodities. Not a single person in that group survived. Every single one of them were shot. After killing them, they dumped their bodies all around. The place is full of unmarked graveyard. I prefer calling it the bamboo slave dumping site. But then others call it the bamboo cemetery. I don't like the word cemetery because they were not given a befitting burial. We are here now. I shall not take you down this way because you are not here for your last bath. You have returned on behalf of your ancestors. So for that reason, I shall take you for your first bath of return, called the Sankofa Birthright Healing Bath. All you need to do is probably put your hands in there. If you're going to put your feet in, you take the shoes off and then you step in there for a couple of minutes. Whilst washing your hands, we say some things. This is the hands we use for almost everything. Let my hands be cleansed so that whatever I use these hands for will bring benefit for myself and those around me. Let my feet be cleansed so that whenever I needed to be somewhere, they might take me there. Let my ears be cleansed. Whenever the ancestors get much closer to me and whisper into my ears, I might be able to hear them loud and clear. Let my eyes be clean so that when they are showing me the signs and the direction, I might see it and then move accordingly. May my mouth be cleansed so that anytime I need to open this mouth, it should be words that will encourage others to become the better version of themselves.
I'm Martha Castex Tatum, the Vice Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Houston. The real reason we've journeyed here was to connect with our ancestors. And having the opportunity to do that today, I am reminded of what a chief once told me. The blood within us is stronger than the sea that divides us. And may I always be my ancestors' wildest dreams.
Minion Mina, Omohena, Omufi American, no say a ba near Behe, Bebia, ye dim free, I did Mubaya, I big German. Somoda, Babia Madrubia, no Damasi. Munkosuna Mumpayamo Mina, Nadombe Bia Akoso. Somoda, the Coso in Fiebre, Nenya Diani and Nijuho. Ne entiasi ne ni baby e dey ekrofo no ko se kan ye nima anka bi e mo ko baby enso so e be ne den start sabre no de bae ene de ye nyina e kuyi enti se sia mi gina ha mi mamu nyina ensa mu nyina mo bagye nsa no ye srebo madawroma munkoso na mo mpaye ma wo mo ye che ha nyina o mu nim de ya o mu kodu o mu krofo ene de o mu koye Oma baha so mo be hwe omo enti esremo munyina mo a na munyisa no na mo mpaye ma yina mita masi bebre.
Ago Akwaba to the historic Cape Coast dungeons. And I will conduct you around the dungeons as the guide. Your Excellency, the tour very sad and emotional. I can only urge you to tone down the emotions. Pray to ourselves that never again should we allow that to happen to humanity. This very edifice was built by the English merchant after 1664-65. The third of its kind in Ghana. And beside the three castles, over 30 forts were built. Portuguese monopolized the trade for over a century, together with the Spaniard. And therefore, the activities in Africa, Europe, America, elsewhere attracted other Europeans to come. This spot changed hands from Portuguese, Swedish, Danish, Dutch, and English. Our brothers and sisters to this very dungeon were first obtained from the immediate environment. Later, they brought some of our brothers and sisters from the middle of Ghana today. You can mention Kumasi, Sunyani, Wenchi, Techima, and majority from the north, including Burkina Faso of today. Inside the male dungeon of the Cape Coast Castle, the trench at the middle of the floor here for wee-wee, or if you urinated it, it drained through the ocean. If you wanted to do number 2, you do it at the bottom of the wall and then stay with it until the next day. It's 150 to 200 were confined here at a given time. Disease is very common, and almost every day, people die from one ailment to another. A team of archaeologists from University of Ghana, Legon, came here during that time for academic research work. They could see bricks all over, but part of the dungeon, different materials all together. So there was a need to find out. They retrieved shackles. Over here, we have them in the main museum gallery, and scooped part of the material to the lab for tests. The findings were that the materials composed of throw up, sweat, blood, wee-wee, tears, a chunk of it, hardened waste. So after they are working, and then they put those marks there to educate you and I what they discovered almost 50 years ago. And that's the significance of the markings on the wall. Your Excellency, I will give you a moment, touch the wall, whatever word you have for the ancestors.
I'm Andy Icken. I'm the Chief Development Officer of the City of Houston. I work for Mayor Turner. What I've learned in this is just how that history has impacted the whole world. And seeing what I've seen here, Cape Castle, is just horrifying to watch what happened. Watch what happened, how people treated people as mere property, something that I would hope never happens again in this world. And I hope making this open and available to people and describing exactly what happened would get that message across to each and every person in the world.
My name is Anders. My current name is Kojo Monday, which means I bring peace. I not only work for Port Houston, I naturally also represent my ancestors and my people, Denmark. And so coming to Ghana, I was confronted in a more sincere way with the slave trade that went on for 400 years, which my nation and many other seafaring nations were involved in. There is no escape from the role that our people and our nations, our ancestors have played in the slave trade. And so we cannot even know if we can hope for forgiveness, but we must pray, and we do pray for forgiveness. I think of all the bad stuff that has happened in human history, slave trade certainly is one of the most incredible and sincere injustices that has taken place. And so I pray that we may come together as sisters and brothers in genuine love and respect, that we may walk over sunlit hills together in joy and peace, free of want and fear.
My name is Commander Victor Loffinmakin with the United States Navy. So just a quick narrative of my experience so far in Ghana, and now culminating with visiting the ancestral graveyard and also here at Cape Coast. As you can tell, I'm dressed as a Yoruba part of Nigeria, so I'm of Nigerian descent. And despite, the popular Nigerian Ghana jollof, I think we're very, very similar, and the food was excellent. I learned about Akwaba, and I never really put it together, but the Yoruba culture also have what they call Ekabo, which is very similar to Akwaba and Ekabo. That kind of lets me know about how much we have in similarities than separates. We are one people. So I want to urge everyone, Africans all over the world, including in Africa, in Ghana, to take some time and really reflect on this part of the history. come over here to Cape Coast. Come down to the ancestral graveyard. Learn more about these things. It's not just to learn to teach about your history, also actually connects you to get to your future.
There's power in the diaspora. I mean, things can happen in a positive way. And quite frankly, if we don't get it, it's hard to kind of convince others to get it. That first step should be taken by those who have benefited from home. That next step is to encourage those who have disrupted the home to help in rebuilding the home. And then the third step is to say to people, however you feel, unless you're engaged in a positive, proactive, impactful relationship, even your home can be at risk because we are interconnected. And you may be successful today, but tomorrow may present a different story. But in order to protect tomorrow, we have to make sure that both of our homes are fully built and erected and in good shape.
So you've come. What are the opportunities that you have seen on the continent so far?
I mean, when you start talking about resources, vast.
Too much.
You know, the minerals, vast. Quite frankly, I specialize in part on the energy transition sector. And Houston is the energy capital of the world. But when you start talking about the energy transition, a lot of the mineral base that you need to fulfill that are right here in Africa. So there are a lot of synergies there. When you talk about trade relationships, quite frankly, between Houston and Ghana, right now it's about $250 million. Wow. It has increased by 16% over the last decade, but it can be exponentially more. And so when you start looking at all of these mineral resources that exist, if you build out the value chain, not just come and take minerals and then go and don't leave much back, you can create a new paradigm where you're benefiting that population that's here in Ghana and on the African continent that needs the jobs.
Yep.
And at the same time, you can then trade your products, enhance the trade relationship, and so you can build really a win-win situation. So huge opportunities there. When it comes to technology and innovation, you know, I don't care where you are, we have some smart kids, okay? They are smart. And they can tell you more about how to operate that phone than people my age.
Even my 6-year-old.
Right, so they're smart. And you have to tap into that interest and creating innovative ecosystems with the whole labor force that exists, that young population. And for most of the people on the African continent, that's a young population. When we look at the different aspects, we think there are huge opportunities. We still need more direct flights.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for those of us from Houston, there was no direct flight. So when we leave, we're on United going back to DC
before you
go to Houston, where we have one of the largest African population in the United States. So if you want to build that business relationship, you got to make it more convenient and we shouldn't have to go to New York or go to DC.
Yep.
So we're working on those relationships. And what I've said to my team, we can't talk forever. What people need to see, they need to see some success stories. People don't expect you to solve all or everything, but as long as they can see meaningful steps being taken, then it gives them hope that they're not being ignored or overlooked. The same thing on the world stage, the same thing as it relates to Africa. And who best to help to make that happen are those of us a part of the diaspora. Okay, so there's where slavery separated us, now time is demanding that we unite. Regardless of where you may live outside of Africa, when you come here, you are home. On this trip, it is about building a better future for our kids. And I want to present to you this book that describes the city of Houston, but through the eyes of our children.
Our children. Thank you.
We gave the 30 men and women a sash to welcome them to Ghana, the center of the world.
My name is Tiffany D. Thomas. I'm a Houston City Council member, and I'm in Ghana on a 30-person delegation representing the city of Houston. I have never experienced friendship, generosity, and a welcoming like I have in Ghana, particularly Accra. As a Black American in the U.S., it was healing to return to the castle. It was healing to return to the river, to reunite with my ancestors, to affirm everything that I knew about myself, everything that I knew about who they were. And they were so resilient that my ancestors lived through that entire process that I can exist today to continue to advocate for the rights of those in the Americas and abroad. We did more than just meetings. We were able to experience the culture and the people and the love. I am forever in love with salted fish, fried plantain, and everything else that I was able to enjoy, which reminded me of home, which then shares with me that our traditions have continued through generation after generation. As someone that is genetically 25% Ghanaian, this was a welcome home for myself, and I'm absolutely committed that I will return.
My name is Centrell Reed, and I am the owner of Cree Global Media and Cree Global Media Television Network. And I have had the most amazing pleasure to be a part of Mayor Sylvester Turner's delegation and trade mission to Africa. And it was absolutely amazing. And to tell you about the culture, it just felt so symbiotic to my New Orleans roots and just living in the South of the U.S. coming here, soaking up the culture, just enjoying some of the amazing things that Ghana has to offer. And we had the most amazing reception from the moment we touched down in this country. We felt like there was an energy in the soil, there was an energy in the environment. We were coming here so that we can understand what was going on in Ghana and how we could go back and tell the story. I wanted a first-hand account of what was going on here, and I wanted to soak it all up, and I did. Whether it was the food, it was the dancing from the moment we got off the aircraft, it was amazing. Ghana is definitely a destination. Just in case you didn't know, now you know.
Hey everyone, my name is Jasmine Terry. I am from Houston, Texas. I have been a part of the trade mission here in Ghana, and it's been absolutely amazing. Not only were we able to explore the culture, we were able to explore the cuisine and have really impactful conversations. One of the things that stood out to me the most visiting Ghana is actually the natives here, how welcoming it is, as well as how fun it is. Fun, shopping, food, the experience. I've actually was able to get an amazing sash being a part of the Houston delegation team here in Ghana with the Mayor of Houston. This has by far been one of my most impactful trips, and I'm looking forward to invest in Ghana.
My dad used to always say, because I would say to my dad many times, because my dad had a farm and he would go and bring a lot of the produce to our house, and then he and my mom would be at the kitchen table and had us putting different items in bags, and he would say, take this next door, or take this across the street. And there were 9 kids in my family. Wow. Okay, neither one of my parents graduated from high school. And we would say, as kids, we would say to my dad, why are we giving our stuff away? There are a whole lot of us. And what my dad would say is that, number one, you may think you're okay today, but what about tomorrow? So my dad would say, create the sort of environment that if tomorrow, if it doesn't rain, you can go next door and get a pail of water. And you start that by being charitable and understanding today. I never forgot that.
I'm never gonna forget that.
I never forgot that lesson. So his whole message, don't assume that tomorrow
is gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. So you better build the sort of relationship that if your tomorrow puts you in a situation of need, you've got others who will say, because you were there for me, I am now here for you. The world in which we live, if we don't operate on that principle, then we all lose.
My name is Asha McPhail. I'm Chief of External Affairs for the Texas Medical Center. The Texas Medical Center is the world's largest medical center. We see over 10 million patients, 120,000 employees on our campus, and over 10,000 beds. I came to Ghana and as part of this Houston delegation to meet with other healthcare leaders, both within the government and then also the business sector, to find areas for collaboration and opportunities for us to work together. From the moment we got off the plane, we were escorted out and had a wonderful celebration, really showing the Ghanaian culture coming out. We had dancers and music. Everybody greeted us so warmly. Also presented us lovely stoles that we had that really showed off Ghana's culture and who you all are. And then from there, we have just been thoroughly taken care of in every aspect of the way. The warmth of everybody that we have met, the generosity of everybody has been wonderful. We were able to do a city tour in Ghana, learning a little bit more about the culture, the history, which is something that I will be honest, I did not know much about before coming. And so I think that was really special and unique and helps put everything in perspective. And then meeting with business leaders, meeting with entrepreneurs in the healthcare space who are looking to build a hospital or doing digital health connections. And so sort of figuring out moving forward how we can sort of forge that path together.
Hi, my name is Jelika Momirovic, and I'm Assistant Director of Aviation or Director of Air Service Development for the Houston Airport System in Houston, Texas. From the first moment that we landed, it was such a great experience, and we received like a grandiose, warm welcome with a dance and a meet and greet. And the whole This visit was very fast and short, but we did a lot, and from people that are really warm and friendly to a lot of art and artifacts that you can find here. And also we had a cultural tours down to Cape Coast, and that whole experience was just very touching for everybody, and it's very historic that I think everybody in the world should experience at least once in a lifetime, because it teaches us history and importance of many things that we should consider moving down in the future and advocate for. I wish I could stay longer. We did some shopping too, so we did some for kente fabric and some of the wooden products like masks, and it's just a wonderful experience. And also the city itself is metropolitan city. It's well developed, it has a lot to offer, but then also you can go into outskirts and see more of the country life that's really also appealing to me. Just it shows you the taste of Ghana within the whole continent of Africa.
My commitment, for example, is to be one of those mayors helping to lead the diaspora, to encourage, for example, the mayor in New York, Eric Adams, the mayor in Los Angeles, Karen Bass, the mayor in Chicago, Brandon Johnson, the top 4 mayors of the largest cities in the United States, to say, let's align and let's point our resources, our people, let's point them towards Africa and reestablish a connection that separation from slavery produced. And we need to lead ourselves. As a former president of the African American mayors, my job is to say to those others, okay, now look to Africa. And as a trustee with the United States Conference of Mayors, my job is to say to all of the Americans, mayors, regardless who they look like, that it is in our city's best interest and those that we represent to point and look towards Africa.
I don't know about you guys, but I am totally inspired by your words today. And for my viewers who don't know, the mayor is a chief. He's a king. He has the key to Ivory Coast.
Oh.
So he can go there anytime. He has citizenship. And in Ghana, as well as being a king, his name is Kwesi, which means he was born on a Sunday. So Kwesi and Akosua, I was also born on a Sunday. So I'm Akosua. It's been a privilege and an honor. Thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for coming, and thank you for making such an impact in your community in Houston and also here on the continent.
It's an honor to be here, and I'm enjoying every single minute.
Yay! If you are in the diaspora and you haven't been back home, this is the time. Forward ever, backwards never. Thank you for watching.